Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Peter Briones, back with another episode of the Press Box Hat Trick. And today I got another familiar face on, Olivier Neven, my guy. Um, he's more of a Raptors insider, Raptors expert, basketball expert right now. But we're going to switch it up today. We're going to talk some soccer, which he knows a ton about as well. So don't be fooled. We're going to talk about the Canadian men's national team. They got a big fixture up against Mexico tonight. So we're going to break that down for you. We're going to break down the first window, this upcoming window, and everything to do with the men's national team. So, my God, thank you so much for being here.
For sure, I'm really excited to be here again. I missed it a bit. It's been a little minute, but I'm happy to be here. And yeah, I can talk a lot more than just basketball. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm just playing. If anything, soccer is the thing. The sport
Might know even more. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Don't be fooled, ladies and gentlemen.
exactly.
So yeah, this is it's good to have you back on again. I mean, we gotta
For sure.
have you on for the NBA as well. So
Yeah, eventually.
people will see a lot more of you, man. It's only the
Sounds good.
yeah. So I want to talk tonight about tonight's game, Canada versus Mexico. It's a late one, kicks off at 9:40 p.m.
hmm
So
Yeah,
the diehards will stay up for that one. I'll stay up for that one.
yeah.
But there's two big players out for Canada. Milan Borjan, their regular keeper, and Kyle Larin,
hmm
who's been arguably their best striker. So
Yeah.
who's going to step up for Canada in the absence of those two guys?
Well, I think in nets, it's going to be they're going to go with Maxime Crepeau, who came out of the Impact slash CF Montreal Academy, who since he left, almost controversially because he kind of should have stayed with Montreal. It's a shame they let him go, but he's been really good with Vancouver. One of the better keepers in all of MLS. And he's the natural successor to Borjan. Borjan now is he's getting older and he's had some success in Europe, but his years are dwindling, and Crepeau is the natural successor, and I think this is the first step in that. It doesn't mean that it's the end of Borjan, but I'm not too worried. I think Crepeau is at Borjan's level, maybe even if not higher, so I'm not too worried about it. Nets. In terms of the striker, yeah, it's a little worrying because Larin has been really good over these qualifiers. He scored a bunch, and when Jonathan David, who would be his natural replacement, has gotten opportunities, he hasn't shown up as he has, let's say, with Lille in Ligue 1. Obviously, he had a huge season last year. He's been really good already this year in France, but with Canada, really hasn't hit his stride yet. But he's young, he's going to find his feet, and hopefully it's tonight at the Azteca. That'd be nice because Canada needs to be able to score.
Yeah, it's a real tough place to play in as well. The last time Canada scored a goal in the Azteca was in 1983. So
Yeah, it's been too
that's
long.
that's a long time. I think the drought could end tonight. And one other thing
Hopefully.
to note about Maxime Crepeau, he had a great game against Mexico in the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
So one thing to note there, they didn't get the win, but they
hmm
competed with the CONCACAF powers, and yeah, they almost squeaked out a win.
hmm
So yeah, that's one thing to note over there. I
Yeah.
also want to talk about the first window and how Canada failed to capitalize. So
hmm
a lot of teams failed to capitalize, though. So it was not just Canada. They walked away with 5 points out of a possible 9, which is not the worst outcome in the world. They're still sitting in second place, tied for second place.
Yeah.
But the one game that really stood out to me was the game against Honduras, their opening match. What did you think of that?
Yeah. For sure. I think they missed a bunch of opportunities to score, to win, and they could have even won big there. They missed so many opportunities, especially near the end of the game, and Honduras slipped away with a tie. Like they got pretty lucky. It's not like their defense was too good. It's just the goalkeeping was big, and then Canada was just wasteful in their opportunities. So that was a big opportunity missed. They should have gotten the 3 points. It would have helped a lot in qualifying. Um, yeah, that was a missed opportunity. Otherwise, the rest of the window was okay. I think their draw with the United States was good. I think they were actually the better team. The only reason why it ended as a draw is because they were defending most of the game. Let the U.S. have the ball, and the U.S. They didn't really know what to do with it. They got, they kind of got fortunate to score there, but Canada were definitely the more resilient bunch and played much better. It's just that the U.S. kind of controlled the game. Canada gave it to them, and that's how they got that draw. And then against El Salvador, Canada took care of business. I think El Sal probably could have gotten 2 red cards in that game. But you can't trust CONCACAF refs, and it's a real pity. It's embarrassing to see that there's no VAR at this level of the game. But yeah, I think it was a good enough window. It's just that Honduras game. Hopefully, it doesn't come back to bite them, because they really should have taken the 3 points in that one.
Well, I agree with you, but the other way that you can look at it is that, realistically, they were expected to get 6 points, right? Against Honduras and El Salvador. So for them to come away with 5, they basically just missed out on 1. Like, they weren't expected to draw against the U.S. in a ruckus U.S. crowd,
Yeah, in Nashville too. That's it. They were away. It was whatever. U.S. soccer fans are one thing. It's not the toughest place to play, but it was still an away game. And I think they did a good enough job. They were the better team. I think, it'll be hard to find people who disagree with that. Just like I said, when one team controls the tempo and the ball the whole game, like, there's only so much the defending team can do. They got a goal, which is already a big enough deal. But yeah, I imagine, in the reverse fixture, when we see the U.S. visit Canada, I think Canada is going to take the game to them a lot more than they would have in Nashville. I think they played it okay. It was frustrating to watch because I don't like to watch teams defend. So, it was a little frustrating, but in the end, you kind of have to understand that they have to play a certain way if they want to win, so, or if they want to, get the most points out of their fixtures as possible.
Yeah. Well, the one thing you can guarantee with Canada now, their team now, like, just, I think, the best version of Canada that we've seen. No matter who they play, they're going to have the best player on the pitch in CONCACAF, at least.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that you can really take to the bank. Like, Alphonso Davies is by far and away the best player in CONCACAF. It's not really close. And, he gives Canada a shot to win in every match that they play. Yeah. So
he just plays, the thing with Davies, and I agree, he is the best player in CONCACAF. I'm a big fan. I'm wearing my Alphonso Davies jersey now, my Bayern jersey. But the thing is that he's gotten used to playing as a left back now. That's what he plays for Bayern, and he plays left back so often. I remember earlier in his career, like, he didn't like playing defensively. He saw himself more as a winger, as an attacker, but just naturally, he's moved further back. And you see sometimes Canada try to play him up the field as a winger, but those tendencies have kind of gone out of the, he's gotten so used to playing defensively now, and he helps out the attack as much as any fullback does in all of Europe and all of the world. It's just that, you don't have him up there getting on the ends of runs, or he's not always on the counter attack. You know what I mean? Because he's asked to defend, which he does very well, but it's restrictive. So yeah, he definitely is the best player in CONCACAF, but thing is, he can't always have an impact on the game as much as if it was like a midfielder or a forward would for other teams, so it's a bit of a weird predicament.
Yeah, well, I think he's been all over the pitch in both games that he's played for Canada. Like, his stamina is off the charts, obviously, so he can get back on defense, and he can impact the attack. All he needed against the U.S. was one touch.
Yeah, that's true.
And they scored off of that.
Had he finished that game, because he did end up coming off with a slight injury,
I think they would have won.
They probably would have won, because they were taking it to them after finally, and that at that point. So it's unfortunate. Obviously it wasn't serious, so that's a good thing. But yeah, they could have won. Like I said, the U.S. weren't great that game, and Canada, had they created some more counterattacking chances, maybe made the most of them. And if Davies had not gone off injured, who knows what would have happened there. That would have been a nice surprise 3 points. Would have definitely made up for that Honduras tie.
Yeah. And speaking of Davies, how do you think he can impact the game tonight? Because obviously Mexico is going to have the lion's share of the possession. I predict they'll have around 75 to 80% of the possession, which is not, which is, what you would expect in Mexico.
Yeah.
In front of
Yeah.
a sellout crowd. So how can Davies impact the game tonight?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's bullshit that it's going to be a sellout crowd because they actually weren't supposed to have fans in the first place. They had been sanctioned for homophobic slurs and stuff, so this game was supposed to be played in front of an empty stadium, but CONCACAF reversed the decision. Shocker. You never see them favoring the Latin teams. But yeah, I don't, it's obviously going to be tough. Like, I think it's going to be even tougher. It's a bigger task than playing the US and Nashville, for example. The Aztec obviously is one of the most legendary stadiums, not only in on this continent but in the world. And Mexican fans are wild, they're crazy, they're passionate about their game and their team. And Mexico is in a good spot right now in terms of their team. They might not have the flashy names that they would have had in the past, but they have a good roster, and they'll take the game to Canada. That they're gonna boss possession, like you mentioned. They have a good strike force, so you can't give them too many opportunities. They're obviously gonna play hard. You see that in almost all CONCACAF games. It's a very tough game. It's very tough. Some hard tackles. Some calls that might not go your way. So Canada has to be ready for that. So far, they've shown that they're able to combat that, but they have to keep their cool. And then, like we said, hit on the counter. Fonzie's going to be a big part of that, obviously, because him on one side, Tajan Buchanan on the other side. They're really going to drive the counterattack, and hopefully they get those opportunities. And if Jonathan David ends up starting, then he can be on the end of those opportunities, even run it himself. He's a pretty quick player. So yeah, the Canada just has to keep their composure, play well defensively. The midfield has been great so far. But yeah, we're going to see more of a defensive mindset for sure for this game, which might not be the most exciting for Canadian soccer fans. But if we want a result here, I think that's going to be the best way to go forward.
Yeah, I think a really key player for tonight is going to be Stephen Eustachio in the midfield. I think he's been Canada's second best player. He's
great, yeah.
Yeah, he's been performing at an extremely high level, especially in that first window. It's very noticeable in the midfield, and I think if he holds it down tonight, they can squeak out a draw. They can get out of Mexico with 1 point.
Yeah, he's the kind of player that Canada's been lacking for a while, it seems, and at least to me, he kind of came out of nowhere. So it's nice to see him, being able to move the ball around. He's not afraid of making a pass or dribbling to get out of trouble. If he plays alongside, you usually see a Tiba Hutchinson there, who's a lot more defensive minded. A ball winner, good in the air. Even Mark Anthony Kaye could do a bit of everything, but Eustachio is really the finesse in that midfield. So he's obviously going to be important in just, if we are going to counter successfully, to move that ball forward, spread it out to the wings if necessary. But he might not get the most opportunity to pass the ball forward, make decisive passes. But when he gets the opportunity, he has to take the most of it. And so far, he's done that. He's been very impressive, especially in that Gold Cup. He was amazing. So. Hopefully he keeps it up tonight and he gets the opportunities necessary, because if he's not on the ball, not that he's not a factor, but obviously with the ball, it makes a big difference and he can really do a lot from there. So,
yeah, he's like the Canadian Kevin De Bruyne, basically.
Yeah. And, he's already playing in Europe in the first division in Portugal. So it's a big deal. We see a lot of guys that are playing at high levels. So you mentioned this is Canada's best ever team. It's, undoubtedly so. Like there's never been this much talent, and this guy's spread out across Europe in some big clubs. So it's not, it's for real now. This is the time.
Like, the squad's good when a lot of MLS guys are not even in the starting 11.
Exactly.
That used to be our bread and butter. Years ago.
Yeah, barely MLS. Yeah, not even sometimes. So, but now it's like Samuel Piette. Like he's no longer
one of the starters.
Yeah.
You know, it's good. It's a sign of good things to come.
It doesn't feel like they have to just fill out a team now and put some bodies there. It feels like
Yeah.
there's an actual,
Competition.
they have pieces to work with and do they get the most out of something, and not just feel the team of these guys are Canadian, like we'll put them out. It's like, no, now we have serious talent. We can make a difference.
Yeah.
If they qualify for this World Cup, they're in the next World Cup for sure. That's 2 World Cups in a row, and like that's great for this team in particular because it's so young. We'll see a lot of the same faces, but also for the next generation of Canadian soccer players.
Yeah, for sure. This would be huge. And honestly, they got a good shot. They got a good shot.
They do. Very good shot.
They keep getting results, and they keep improving with each and every window. Like when they had to qualify for the Octagon, you could tell that they were new to one another. They didn't really know their play style, and they're really starting to get that chemistry, and they're separating themselves. So they know that Davies is the guy. They know that we got to get him the ball regardless if there's 3-4 guys on him. They know that Stephen Eustachio is the engine in the midfield, and that's how they're playing. They have their roles.
Yeah.
Roles are defined, and they're looking like a real team right now, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, like you said, they should qualify. This is, we're going to be honest. CONCACAF is not the toughest, conference for international play in the world. And Canada should qualify. Like this, they're among the top teams. They're definitely among the top 3. And it's the 4th team ends up in a playoff, but they have to make this top 3 like they're supposed to. They have the roster for it. They have a team that can even compete a bit in a World Cup if say they make it.
Maybe.
So. They wouldn't be the worst squad there, is what I'm saying. But they got to make it first. They can't be complacent, and we can't have more draws like the one against Honduras. They have to really take the chances when they come because you don't want to leave any doubt, right? You want to get as many points as possible. Not be complacent, like I said. Just pull it out of reach. Because that's what Mexico and the U.S. are going to look to do.
You got to capitalize.
Exactly.
For sure. So
exactly.
On a finishing note, I want your prediction for tonight's game. Be honest. What do you think's going to happen?
I can see a 1-1 draw. I think it's going to play out a bit similarly to the U.S. game. I can even see actually Canada scoring first, a bit of a surprise goal. And then just because, Mexico is going to put the pressure on, and I think they'll end up with 1. Canada's defense is good, but it's not amazing. And, Mexico has some difference makers. So we'll see which of them play, which of them feature, how well they play. But I think Canada might actually end up caving and allowing 1, but I think they'll have one of their own. Obviously, it sucks that Laren's not going to be there because he's been so hot. But all it takes is one good opportunity, like these are obviously very high level players. So you have a good cross by Tajin or Fonzie and, whoever's on the end of it, even a set piece, we've scored from corners now a couple times. So there's some tall players in this team, and that's it. Take any chance you can, because there might not be that many of them.
Yeah. I'm hesitating. I'm really hesitating. I think I like your prediction of a 1-1 draw, but it's not sexy. It doesn't.
No, it isn't.
It doesn't like get the headlines. I honestly think we're gonna lose. I'm gonna be honest.
I can't blame you for thinking that. Yeah.
I think Mexico wins 2-1. Same score of the Gold Cup game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So which is still pretty good. A decent result, a good, I would say, moral victory to go in Mexico, score a goal, and give Mexico a run for their money.
Mexico didn't necessarily have the most convincing September window. They beat Jamaica 2-1. Jamaica's not a very, very good team.
Yeah.
Costa Rica only 1-0. Costa Rica is okay too. Not a bad team, but, you'd think that Mexico at their level can do more. But the more surprising one was Panama, the last game on September 8th, where they drew 1-1. That's a game they should win. And Panama has actually had a good run so far. Whether it's sustainable or not, we don't know, and it probably isn't. But those are games that you expect Mexico to win. Sorry?
Is Panama third?
I think so.
Yeah.
Those are the games that you expect. Do you expect Mexico to run away with? Panama's in fourth right now. Mexico's first, Canada second, the U.S. is third, then Panama. So, I don't know. They haven't really been very convincing. So hopefully they're caught in a bad run of form here, and Canada capitalizes on it, because this would be huge 3 points, huge in helping them. They'd leapfrog them in the group. They'd go first. And then if they fail to drop points after that, they can have, they could be clearly run away with it, and that'd be nice.
3 points is that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
That'd be big. That'd be huge. I'm not counting. Me neither.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Let's just break the scoring drought for tonight. The 1983 scoring drought. Let's focus on
that'd be a good step in the right direction.
Exactly. Well,
yeah.
It was great, Olivier. Thanks so much, man. We'll do this
for sure, man.
Soon, probably for the third window as well.
Cool. So, I'd be very happy to. Hopefully, we'll be celebrating a win at that point.
Yeah, let's hope we're in good shape by then. So, my God,
yeah.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
For sure. Thanks for having me.